don't know if you're ready for this one. Are you ready to unplug from the Matrix? I got a question for you. Are you ready to hear facts, or do you want to believe what you want to believe regardless of what the facts actually are? So let's start with this. I see a lot of people going in on the president about him calling this virus by its geographical location. He's calling it a Chinese virus. Everybody going in, everybody mad. There was a reporter that asked him a question. Now, let me let you know, I am no Trumpite. I'm no Trump hater. He's done a lot of good things. You don't have to like the man. You don't have to agree with everything the man says. But the fact remains that he's done a lot of good things. What you think about him as a person is irrelevant to that point, right? I don't like on either side. I don't care whether you're Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. I don't like when people are attacked for reasons that are ridiculous. All right, so let's look at this. The West Nile fever, which is where you get the West Nile virus. Do you know where it got its name? From the region that the virus was first seen, or the fever was first seen, the West Nile district of Uganda. Nobody had a problem with that. I've never heard anybody say anything about that. Ebola, where did it get its name from? One of the first villages it was seen or noticed, I don't think it was the first, but one of the first, was near the Ebola River. That's where it got its name. You don't hear nobody complaining about the name of these two viruses. The Spanish flu. Nobody complains about that. You don't hear anybody saying, oh, we shouldn't call it the Spanish flu. Look, the things we get outraged over, in my opinion, is retarded. We get outraged for things that we shouldn't even really be paying attention to. They're minute. They're so minute, it is ridiculous to even allow it to agitate you. All right. I wanted to read this to you. There's a full article on the Bloomberg website you could read. They're talking about the death toll in Italy when it concerns the coronavirus. And the reason that I'm going over this article is there's a lot of fear being fomented, and this is bad. It's really bad. And the reason it's bad is when fear is pushed your way, then you're not seeing the information you should see, and you're not paying attention to the things that you should be paying attention to. I'm going to explain after I read this. It says the Rome-based institute has examined medical records of about 18% of the country's coronavirus fatalities, finding that just 3 victims, or 0.8% of the total, had no previous pathology. Almost half of the victims suffered from at least 3 prior illnesses, and about a fourth had either 1 or 2 previous conditions. More than 75% had high blood pressure, about 35% had diabetes, and a third suffered from heart disease. These are things you should know. This is why these are things you should know. Instead of there being just widespread panic and people going crazy, the people who need to worry most should be properly informed. But because of all of the noise, you don't see any of this information because there's so much noise. Everybody, I say everybody, the mass media is trying to push panic so you can't see through that panic to see the metrics you need to see. Right? Look at these statistics right here. This is the coronavirus cases, and I believe this is the deaths and their ages. The median age of the infected is 63, but most of those who die are older. This does not mean their lives don't matter, but this is information you should have, right? We shut down a whole country because of this virus. Instead of taking these metrics and then saying, okay, we see how it's affecting people overseas. We see the people who are dying. So here's what we're going to do. We need to really take care of our elderly. We need to really make sure we keep a watchful eye over them. And we need to really make sure we keep a watchful eye over people with pre-existing conditions. If you have a pre-existing condition, if you have respiratory, some kind of, long-standing respiratory issue, you should probably stay inside as much as possible. If you smoke, you should probably stay inside as much as possible. If you just had chemotherapy, which you already should do, which, people who've had chemo, they know this, stay inside. You don't want to get sick, right? Nobody has said this in the media when they started all this panic. They led with the panic instead of leading with the statistics and saying, hey, we need to worry about this. But what we need to worry about most is people in these metrics. That's not what was said. We just pushed widespread panic, shut a whole country down, in my opinion, unnecessarily. I read this. This is the CDC's website. I actually went over these statistics a couple days ago, and it was less, by the way. It was 20,000 to 50,000 deaths by the flu. Now that number is up to 22,000 to 55,000. There was no panic over the flu this whole flu season. The flu season, all right, so this is going from October 1st of 2019 through March 7th of this year. How many of you have seen any of these numbers in the media? Flu illnesses, 36 to 51 million. Flu medical visits, 17 million to 24 million. This is just in the US. Flu hospitalizations, 370,000 to 670,000. This is just in the US. Flu deaths, 22,000 to 55,000. This is just in the US. Now, to go back to my original question, are you ready to unplug from the matrix? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a realist. Are you ready to unplug from the matrix? Let me help you unplug. You're afraid and you're panicking. There's nothing wrong with being cautious. And fear is not necessarily a bad thing. Panic, however, is. You are panicking because the media told you should panic. You ready to unplug yet? You worried about this and you flipping out, buying toilet paper, and I'm not even going to get into that. You flipping out and you panic buying because the media told you should panic. I posted a picture on my Instagram today of, there was a news reporter all bundled up in this, this suit with the mask. And, I don't know where it was. I don't know what was being said. But then there's somebody taking a picture of this. The cameraman just has his jacket on, just chilling, taking a video of this. I believe it was a woman, all bundled up with the mask on and the chem suit, looking like it's just going down. The media is making you panic. Let me say again, I'm not saying don't be cautious, but there is stats. There are facts that you should know before just going into wide panic. That's what's being pushed. That's what's most annoying about this whole situation. Let me tell you what puts more people at risk in actuality. Not knowing those statistics in Italy, not knowing the age of the people who are dying, not knowing the medical condition of the people who are dying, What that does is the people who probably should stay in, when everybody was going out in a mass panic and buying everything, there was a lot of, I've seen them, there was a lot of elderly people, right, that were out and about trying to buy stuff because they don't want to get caught out in the cold when everybody's buying up everything. You know what you just did? You actually put those people at a greater risk, because what they didn't know is they are at greater risk than anyone. But they didn't know that because we were so busy pushing panic. We weren't pushing true statistics. The widespread panic pushed by the media, I cannot overstate this. I hope when this is all said and done and when this is settled, the media at large is held accountable by people just tuning out. I hope a lot of these media organizations go out of business. I hope they collapse. I'm being completely honest with you. I hope they collapse. I really hope they do. It's egregious. What has been done in the past several weeks is egregious. I've never seen this in my entire life. 40 years on this planet. The media's been bad. I've never seen it this bad. Are you ready to unplug from the matrix? This is stuff I just looked up on my own. I was like, let me look up some stuff. The media is telling me one thing. Let me look up this stuff and see what's actually going on. Because I have a feeling I'm not getting a complete picture of what's actually going on. The actual truth. I am here right now to tell you, you need to pay attention when the media is trying to get you to panic. Because here is the problem. The media cried wolf on this one. Once everybody realizes the media cried wolf on this one, when there's an actual situation that we actually probably should be super concerned about and the media is telling us, we're going to be so mad after this situation, nobody's going to pay attention to them. It's going to be like, yeah, you said that same thing last time and it really wasn't what you said it was. Because they cried wolf. They're going to be the media who cried wolf. And nobody's going to pay attention. Look, I'm going to tell you this. Remember I told you this. The same media that sold you panic is the same media that's been selling you a lot of false stories the past couple years. Are you ready to unplug from the matrix? That's my question to you. Are you ready?